Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Catunquit Chronicles, which has been broadcast and developed here in the island of Catunquit in our studio. We acknowledge the custodians of the land where we are broadcasting from today, including the Narragansett Nation, and we pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. I'm your host, James Allen, and I'm joined here most weeks, and this week by the extraordinary adventurer, extreme sport enthusiast, and all-around great gal, Ashland Comorack. Oh, there's nothing like those waves. I love those waves. Ashland, did you have a great Independence Day celebration? And notice I did not use the word 4th. I think that's just not enough information. I'm hung up on stuff like that. Words do matter.
I had a very quiet morning. There was nothing planned. It was perfect. And then somebody came by to buy some honey and invited me to a beach party.
Nice. So you didn't, you told me you were going to build a fire in the fire pit and drink some beer like you did last year. And then you invited me, but I couldn't go because I was already invited to an event over at Ollie O'Neil's.
That was not actually the 4th.
Oh, right. That's right. That was another day.
That was the Jamestown 4th when the Jamestown fireworks happened.
So you invited me to do something that was on the off day, so that not the cool day, just the under day, which is nice. I appreciate the offer. Mm-hmm. However,
no,
I was going to be on the
day,
uncool day.
On the actual day, yes, I had contemplated also a fire, only because I'm trying to burn out a stump. But I ended up going down to Hands Beach, which is the local beach in my part of Catunquit.
Yeah.
And
very nice beach, by the way.
Yeah, it was beautiful. There was about 8 of us sitting around, drinking beer and watching the sunset, going for a swim.
Full disclosure, there's a lot of little necks in that little patch of grass that's just offshore. Oh, don't say that.
Yes, I could tell another story about that another time, but I've recently heard quite a few out there. So anyway, nice time at the beach, and then we headed back to the house, and Stuart said, do you want to go to see the Newport fireworks? And I was like, I was ready to veg out. And he's like, I've got an idea. And Stuart doesn't often have these sorts of ideas. He's like, let's take your e-bike and double up on the e-bike and ride downtown.
Stuart, so you didn't go with Ricky?
No.
No, okay. Ricky's out of the picture,
but
folks.
Ricky would have that sort of an idea. So this was, I couldn't pass this up because Stuart wanted to do something a little daring.
Nice.
It's a bit squirrely putting 2 people on the e-bike.
Did Stuart fiddle the entire way? Because he likes to do his fiddle.
No. So we decided.
I don't mean anything like weird or sexual or anything. I'm talking about with his violin. Wouldn't that be something to see him on the back of your e-bike and the fiddle is fiddling? Yes, I love that. Fiddler is fiddling.
We could try that, but we did decide in this case that even though he has very little experience riding the e-bike, that the heavier person should drive.
Oh.
So he was up front and I was in the back.
Well, there's the question whether who's heavier, because Stuart is he's a very slight person.
He's still heavier than I am.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so we, a little wobbly at first, but we made it, and we stumbled upon a private fireworks display at the house on the edge of the cove there.
Oh, that cove.
That cove.
Oh, Miller's Cove?
Miller's Cove,
yes.
yes.
Oh, right, at the end of Miller's, right at Miller's there.
Exactly.
Miller's Road.
And this was Stuart first noticed because as he was riding the bike, ash was hitting him in the face.
Oh, that's best. When the ash hits you in the face, I have a story about that later. But tell me, on this topic, did you crash the party? I hope you did.
Yeah, no, well, we did. It's that those houses are so close to the street. We just stopped right at the edge there, and it was a private display. You could see the kid or man running back and forth lighting these stuff, but it was quality, like consistent and really low. These things were all exploding right over the house.
Oh, that's the best. Yeah, you want to have the ash falling on the house. Yeah, that's when you really can feel a sense of what it's like to be in the midst of a fire display.
It was nice. And then we continued on, all the way downtown to see the Newport fireworks, which were okay, but you're so far away. You don't get that punch in the chest from the loud fireworks.
And you stopped at the Catunquit Cafe or not?
No, because we were already kind of tired at that point from partying on the beach earlier.
Oh, what was going on at that party? That I wasn't invited to and didn't attend. I was sitting home and wallowing in my pool.
I have to say we were party crashers at that party, and we invited one other. I think it might have gotten out of hand if we just invited even more party crashers.
Yeah. I have a party crasher story, too, but that's for Christmas time. Oh, that other holiday.
So what did you do, James?
Oh, well, I was wallowing in the water. It was very, very hot, I think. It's been hot for quite a bit here. It's very warm in this studio once again. We brought mappines. That's the Italian word for, like, what are they called? Like things to swab your head with. A mappine. Okay, so that's said. Anyway, I don't know. I can't remember things like that on command. I'm not very good with memory, as you know. Thinking were you referring to Saturday?
No. On the 4th, didn't you go up to, didn't you venture away from the South End?
South End, venture. I'm stumped.
You didn't go to the parade?
Oh, yes, we went up to your end of the world. That's right. Well, it was so inconsequential. Not that it's not a beautiful event. But it was exactly 7 minutes from beginning to end. That's a parade. Boy.
It's the perfect parade because most parades are too long.
There's truth in that. There was one fire truck and the band showed up, which was lovely. And it's one of those parades where it goes up the road and it comes back the same way. We didn't stay for the second round. It would have been 14 minutes.
But you didn't participate in the parade.
No, only as a spectator this time. But next year I thought we'd get one of those decals for the car that says Catunquit Chronicles and, do all the stuff.
I think you should get a pedicab because cars in that parade, that's mostly a bike parade.
It is. And the children were lovely.
And walking and scootering.
But they weren't interested in going slow. They actually accelerated the pace of the parade significantly because they were racing. And all the little ones I was concerned about at the start, of course, because they were just slower and being mauled. It was very concerning. I guess if you filmed it, it could get on one of those shows.
Yeah, my kids used to participate in that parade.
Oh, I'm sure.
Get all face painted up and put on fancy outfits and decorate their bikes.
Mountain bikes, of course, with, like pro gear and stuff. Your kids are pretty exceptional. I've seen the results. I think, isn't your son like a national something or other, like flies kites and surfs at the same time? Something
like that.
It's like weird. I mean, not weird. It's cool. It's the coolest thing. He's got a lot of skills, that kid. And your daughter's I played soccer with her. I was blown away. She's got great skills and great pace. So on that topic, do we have a phone that's going off? Do you have to take the call?
No, it's not my phone, but it did remind me to turn the volume off on my phone.
Yes, and I did the same earlier. Okay, so all in all, decent holiday. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to go with that. I wanted to talk a little bit about the history behind Independence Day, what it meant to denounce one's king and fight for freedom from a tyrannical leader. You're celebrating a number is somehow going to make you happy, this 4th. Why is everybody celebrating this number? Happy 4th. It goes up my backside. I hate it. I don't like to use the word hate. I dislike it intensely. When people say to me, Happy 4th, it's meaningless. It's a number. It's like saying, you can finish my statement here, have a good one, which we've already discussed at length, so we're not going to do that, but Happy Independence Day. I know there's multiple syllables. I know. I do it too. I say Happy 4th, but
it's because most people call it the 4th of July and not Independence Day.
That's true. And it's a long weekend and they get lobster salad sandwiches, so what could be wrong with that, right? It truly is independent for me. It gives me a lot of independence. Speaking of lobsters, oh my gosh. Like 3 years in a row, I got a non-commercial lobster license. When the kids were little, it was a very speculative kind of endeavor. But of course, I grew up in the lobster industry, so I have an understanding where lobsters might want to crawl. And that summer, first summer, Sophie and Jesse and I, we were able to collect 175 lobsters. We used to have lobster parties. Did you ever come over?
I think that's before we hung out.
And we would give anyone as many lobsters as they want. And some took advantage of that. I remember this friend, Henry, he had 6 lobsters one night. We had to cart him out of there. There were large lobsters. It was amazing. Sometimes we'd catch 11 lobsters in a pot. The next year we caught 133. The next year 33. The next year 6. They had the lobster shell disease. It was awful.
Oh, so it wasn't climate change. It was an actual.
Oh, someone's coming in. Who is it? Oh, it's Ollie. Ollie O'Neil, my friend Ollie O'Neil. So, Ollie, how are you? Welcome.
I'm doing well. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool that you came over in this heat. I'm surprised that you're willing to sit in the hot box with us this day.
It's actually brutal in here. That's true.
And didn't we decide to have this meeting this morning, this podcast?
Because we thought it would be cooler?
I thought it would be cooler. I'm not sure about that. If it's this hot now, imagine what it's like.
Tonight at 7.
So did you have a nice Independence Day?
I go with the 4th, James. I know, but I'm also wondering, should we wish James like a happy 10th, 11th, like each just the day, right? Whatever the day is. Maybe people are just trying to be happy toward you.
Do you know the play 5th of July?
No, it sounds like it.
I had a small directing role in that play.
This is why we don't. Had you heard of them?
No.
When I was in college, it was a wonderful play, by the way, and I do recall. I recall that we did use the number in that one because that was the title of the play. But
it was the 5th too. It wasn't.
They
the
didn't
4th.
call it the day after.
Good one.
No, but it was much about that, right? Oh, so
no, my 4th was good. It was family. I was out of the state. I was up in Maine, and it was great. Great times. A lot of food, fireworks, things that go boom in the night. It was great.
Too early to dig potatoes.
Oh, definitely too early for that.
Are you a lobster eater?
Yeah, I'll eat the lobster from time to time. Yeah, for sure.
You say lobster?
Lobster. Well, yeah, it's the New England thing.
Sure enough, we was up there having lobster. Yeah, by golly, Ollie O'Neil was up in Maine. What a shock!
Who knew?
It was a complete shock. Ollie O'Neil in Maine.
No idea how I got there because you can't get there from wherever you're going.
So welcome and here
Thank
to
you.
this.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we were glad that you're here. I could see you're nervous as a cat. It's a big audience out there waiting. Ashland, any holiday stories that you'd like to, or memories that you'd like to express, other than what we just already know about your experience?
You mean related to Independence Day?
Yeah.
I have been thinking,
Thank you, by the way.
for thinking. I have been thinking about these fireworks displays, and as a kid, I don't remember every town having a big fancy fireworks show. That was kind of a spread out thing. Like, oh, this town, in this town, there's fireworks, and people would go there.
Yes.
It wasn't something we did. There were fireworks, but they were all fireworks that people were shooting off.
At one point, I looked to my left, and there were fireworks, and I looked to my right, and there were fireworks. That's too many fireworks.
Yeah, when you look over the bay and you can't decide which faraway fireworks show to watch.
You might as well just sit home and look at your screen and watch it on TV. I mean, then at least you're only going to get one set of fireworks, So anyway, I'm complaining about a plethora of fireworks. That's where we're going to go, to the trumpets. Now it's time for the commercial break, sponsored by McGuire's Clam Bakes of Aquidneck Island. It brings you the freshest seafood cooked in traditional Native American ways, steamed on hot rocks with rockweed. Enjoy your lobsters, clams, and fish, all cooked in an open pit at your house. We come to your facility, dig a hole, place granite rocks in the hole, fire up the rocks for 4 hours, and cook on site. With McGuire's, you're guaranteed everything will be cooked to perfection. At the conclusion of the event, 100% of the recyclable cutlery, plates, lobster guts, and fish bags are thrown responsibly into the pit, and we fill the hole before we leave. The only hole you'll experience at the conclusion of McGuire's Clam Bake is the one in your wallet. Call McGuire's for an estimate. We carry AED defibrillators while providing all estimates to our customers as a courtesy. Isn't that nice? That's such a great courtesy, right? Defibrillators. That's troubling. The Catunquit Historical Society is open to the public conveniently from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. daily, Monday through Friday, and 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday during the months of July and half of August. Spin gears at the Catunquit Windmill, or visit the Catunquit Museum, or get your butt out to an undulating colonial-era fire pit ruins for a sweeping view of Narragansett Bay's Lower West Passage. I do recall visiting that site one time with my daughter, Jessie. It was day after that holiday in November, Thanksgiving, and I'm standing there with her, and I see these big spouts of water, and I thought, that's unusual to see water spouting in the middle of the bay. There were beluga whales, white whales, several of them, spouting. And what a thing to view with your daughter.
That's pretty cool.
Before phones became really photographic machines. Boy, am I dating myself there. Anyway, she and I experienced that together. What a wonderful experience. Okay, so join us for a picnic at the Polo Grounds. Be part of the fun as you barbecue and drink field side while watching 1,500-pound animals chase after a beach ball while dudes dressed in riding gear and silly helmets participate in 6 chukkers, whatever that is. Gallop over to Portsmouth's Upper Park for all the fun. Nobody ever knows who wins. It's great, and everybody leaves drunk. Not everybody. Some people don't drink. Boy, that's quite the advertisement. However, I always wonder whether people get trampled. Now, that would bring some interest to the whole program, for sure. Although I haven't experienced this myself, I'd like to go over and see what's going on at the Polo Grounds. We're also brought to you by Phil's Fences. Phil's Fences wants to wall you in. We build it all, from picket fences to stone structures that even keep deer from entering your yard. Your neighbors will think you hate them after Phil provides the visual barrier that not only keeps out pests and vermin, but gives the whole neighborhood the big F.U. Phil's for all your fencing needs. I'm not sure that Phil was thinking too clearly when he wrote that. The Catunquit Farmers Market is open on Mondays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's all I have to say about that. Catunquit's first bank, a place to park your money until after the presidential election. A safe place park your bank, to park your money after the presidential election. I say it again. A safe place to park your money.
Plenty of parking at the place that's safe.
I park at the bank on Sundays.
You have a friend over there that lets you?
No, there's nobody there on Sundays.
Oh, Saturday they keep it.
Yeah.
There's a park police. He's in charge of making sure that nobody parks. It's terrible. That's a terrible job. Sorry. He's probably being paid lots of money to do that.
It gets the yellow vest, too. Like,
And
come on, it's not without its perks.
That's right, and a chair.
Yes.
Very short
Very
chair.
comfortable job.
Not a lot. It's a very short chair. I can barely see him. Lots of times I think I'm going to run him over when I'm back, particularly when I'm backing up. Oh, as I age, backing up, turning the head, not so good. Using a lot of mirrors lately. Okay, well, we're going to introduce the today's story. But, however, I would like to say, Ollie, you haven't said too much. Do you have anything you'd like to say before I read this?
No, I'm looking forward to the story. You shared a copy with it.
Okay.
Triggered some good memories for me.
You indicated that you didn't know where they were going to go or how they. But the truth is, the reason I said that, and you can speak. Excuse me.
I was just worried about the two of them at the end. Let's
Okay.
just say there's a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end.
Well, isn't that what most manuscripts? This is not a book yet because it hasn't been published, but there's this is part of one of my manuscripts, which wasn't published. So some parts of this didn't make it, but this I thought was particularly interesting and pertinent, given today's topic, which was mostly about Independence Day. This is called Angel's Wings, and angels should be possessive, but it isn't written in that way. Angel's Wings.
I like that we're editing as we go, by the way. That was good work right there.
That's good. It's what I need to do. Which is the process. You're constantly editing. If you're writing, you're editing. Anyway. Okay. Starts out with some dialogue, so be ready.
Okay.
Oh, so let me just set this up. There's two, because it is a book.
Is this the dialogue that it starts with, by the way, or is it different? Were you in the story?
Okay, so there's two characters, Darcy and Jake, and you might recognize those names from our first book, Swim That Rock. Anyway, so Darcy and Jake are on a wharf, and they're needing a ride to Providence. They thought they were going to get a boat ride. Turns out that a certain pilot you'll meet in this section named Angel, so he is going to give them a ride in a different way. But he has some other ideas. And that was a weird noise that just took a moment to just... Angel, it must have been an angel. So he's going to give them a ride, and there's some things that happen. So we're going to talk about this. There's Jake and Darcy, and Jake opens up. I wonder which boat is Angel's, I asked Darcy, as I scanned the half-dozen or so boats tied up at the wharf, none of which look very seaworthy. I hope it's not that one, Darcy says, pointing to the 14-foot wooden skiff covered in seagull crap and half filled with seawater. You so owe me some saltwater taffy. It's not even funny. I take Darcy into my arms. I should say, let me back up a little bit.
Please, use the mirrors.
Should I take notes?
Yeah.
This might be complicated.
You should take 4 notes. Darcy and Jake. Jake convinces Darcy that they should go on a date to Block Island. I should have said that. And additionally, Jake has alternative ideas, and that is, they're not weird or anything, and that is that he needs to find his friend Tommy. Tommy's missing. He thinks he may have gone to Block Island. So he goes out to Block Island to see this nefarious friend. And it's after that meeting that this takes place. And Darcy's like still thinks she's on a date. Okay, so that's enough said. So I'll back up a little bit here. I hope it's not that one, Darcy says, pointing to a 14-foot wooden skiff covered in seagull crap and half filled with seawater. You so owe me some saltwater taffy. It's not even funny. I take Darcy into my arms. I know. I'm sorry, but you understand, right? Darcy rolls her eyes and squirms loose from my hug. And clam cakes, too. I got it. Clam cakes and rope bracelets. We'll do it all next time, I swear. Suddenly we hear an extremely loud engine coming toward the wharf, backfiring and sputtering, as if it's choking on fuel, and we look up to see a beat-up old seaplane with hundreds of huge dents in it, floating towards us in two rickety pontoons from one of the eastern docks. There's black smoke bleeding out from behind the propeller, which stutters between rotations and then comes to a complete stop. The door opens, and out steps the sinewy, dark-tanned guy in his 50s wearing a grease-stained tank top, torn jeans stuffed into black rain boots, and a red baseball cap with an American flag patch stitched to the front. He balances himself on one of the plane's two pontoons and throws a rope toward me as the plane floats up to the dock. Cool, Darcy says. Don't tell me that's Angel, I say under my breath. You, Jake? He says in broken English as I catch the rope. Yeah, I say, tying off the line on the nearest cleat. I'm Angel. Angel smiles through several missing teeth. I take you to city. No problem. Yeah? Okay. This is going to be awesome. Darcy squeezes my hand. I watch as Angel jumps onto the dock, runs across, climbs into a brand new 20-foot fishing boat, grabs a 15-gallon plastic gas can, and proceeds to empty its contents into the plane's tank. Have you ever been in a seaplane? Darcy asked me. I've never been in a plane. Okay. Okie dokie. We're ready now, yes. Angel tosses the empty can back across the fishing boat, clapping his hands and rubbing them together as he looks around the parking lot. Come aboard Angel's plane, little girl. Let's go. Darcy and I climb aboard and make room on the two rear seats by knocking several empty beer cans to the floor and putting Angel's fishing tackle box on the front seat. I can barely squeeze my knees into the seat. Above my head, several fishing poles are bungeed to the ceiling. This is nuts, I laughed nervously to Darcy. There's no way this plane can actually fly. What are you looking for? Darcy asks as I frantically search under the seat. There's no seatbelt. Darce, there aren't any seatbelts. I think that might be the least of our problems. Darcy points out the window as Angel quickly finishes off the contents of a small flask he pulls from his boot. We both look on with uncertainty as he pushes the seaplane from the dock and makes a very misguided leap, missing the pontoon completely and splashing headfirst into the water. I try to get up to help him, but I'm so wedged into the seat that I can't move. Darcy, we need to get out of this plane now. I would, but I'm stuck. Darcy's laughing uncontrollably. Hold on. I try to climb out of my seat when the door flies open and Angel shoves his dripping wet face into the cockpit. Okay, we're going now, yes. Thanks, Angel, but I think we might be better off taking the ferry. I try my best to end this trip. No. Perfectly safe, no problem. Angel's best pilot on island, you see. Angel pushes us both past into our seats and climbs into the pilot's seat, acting as if he falls into the water every time. We'll be there in no time, you see. Angel starts the engine after a few tries, and it's so loud you can't hear yourself think. That's what my mother used to say whenever we had a power outage and had to start the generator for the dinner in the backyard shed. But this is much louder, and the vibration of the engine makes your back teeth rattle. "Hold on to your horses." Angel cracks his head around again to give us a winning smile that then hits the gas and we start moving. Unbelievably, the noise gets even louder. At first it's not so bad, as the outer edges of the great salt pond are calm and flat. But as we pick up speed and get closer to the middle, there's a slight chop, and the whole plane started bucking and shaking as if it's going to explode from the inside out. The passenger door keeps flying open. Angel reaches across and straps his shot with a bungee cord. "We're going to die," I scream as my fingernails dig into the seat cushion in front of me. I'm holding onto the ceiling with my other arm to keep my head from slamming the ceiling. The top half of the plane is trying to rip itself from the bottom, but the pontoons are stuck to the water like glue. We hit a small wave and we're airborne for a millisecond, but that's all. Slam! We hit the water and the plane continues to try to shake itself apart. I look out the window, and through a torrent of saltwater spray flying by, I see this wing bouncing up and down, and I'm certain it's going to break off. How much you weigh?" Angel screams back to us as I see through the windshield that we're approaching the other side of the pond and the coastal trees lining in, getting closer. "What?" Darcy says, and Darcy and I are clutching each other, knowing that this might be the end, and when suddenly everything goes quiet and almost still, and my stomach lurches as the water releases its death grip on the pontoons, we lift up, away, and from the great salt pond, and we're flying. We're actually flying. "Whoa!" Darcy lets out a scream as we zoom just above the tree line. The plane banks hard right. Darcy falls onto me, and I'm smushed up against the black plastic window. I'm holding on to anything I can so we both don't fall out. Below, I see the roof of the Blue Kitten, and there, as small as a matchbox car, is King's yellow Cadillac. The plane straightens out as we lift higher, rising above all of Block Island. "This is so awesome," Darcy yells as all I can do is keep myself from throwing up. After a while, I start to enjoy the ride. Looking down, I can see Point Judith at the southern tip of Rhode Island, and several large fishing boats pulling up into Galilee with the setting sun casting their shadows on the water. "I have to pee," Darcy says. "Well, you're going to have to hold it. I don't think Angel's going to make any pit stops." "How much longer you think?" Darcy asks, and I scan the horizon to get my bearings, but everything looks different from up here, and I can't really tell what's up. "Angel," I yell toward the pilot, "how much longer till we get to Providence?" "There's Prudence up ahead," Angel says, pointing out at the front windshield. "Not much longer. 20 minutes, the most." "Can you make it?" I look at Darcy, and she shrugs her shoulders and gives me the "I guess so" look. Suddenly the plane dips down, and my stomach lurches up toward my throat as we make a wide arch. Looking out the window, I can see Hope Island, and up ahead is Patience, and I start wondering about Tommy and how he's doing, and I wonder if he's looking up at the seaplane right now, and I wonder what he might think if he knew Darcy and me were up here on our way to find George. We start to fly lower, about 200 feet above the water. "Birds!" Angel points down the eastern edge of the Prudence Island near Potter's Cove. There are hundreds of gulls dive-bombing the water, which is churning with baitfish. The bluefish must be running right now, and underneath them. I've only ever seen that like that a few times, and once when I was with Jean and we were quahogging up in Barrington River. The blues were rowing so hard the whole river looked like a jacuzzi. We didn't have any fishing gear, but Gene just took a bull rake in his hands and swung it over the side, catching a nice 10-pounder right on the teeth of the rake and hauling it into the boat. They were running so thick that he caught 3 of them that way on that day. I suddenly realized that we're coming in really low, and I'm starting to get worried that we're going to hit all these birds. "What are you doing?" I yell to Angel. "Birds!" Angel yells, pointing at them. "Birds!" He points at the water. "Fish! We're going to fish!" Holy crap, this guy's going to land this plane right outside of Potter's Cove in the open water with birds everywhere. What's he saying? Darcy yells at my ear. He's going to land, I tell her. He wants to fish. Angel brings the plane down low, about 200 yards from the birds, and they fly off in all directions, and we hit the water. The landing is a lot smoother than the takeoff, even though there's slight chop. The seaplane comes to a stop in the middle of the churning water, and Angel quickly jumps out of his door, beckoning us to follow. I'm grateful we're now back down in the water, but I'm worried about how we're going to get back into the air. Angel reaches back into the plane as Darcy and I step onto the pontoon, and he pulls out several fishing rods. All rigged up, Angel yells. Angel moves to the tail of the plane with his fishing rod, and carefully plying his way along that flat portion of the pontoon. He's definitely fished this way before because he has steel leaders and large plugs, all perfect for catching bluefish in conditions like these. As soon as he clears to cast, he drives the plug well out into the feeding fish and returning birds, retrieving the plug with a popping motion. Darcy's fascinated, smiling from ear to ear as a set of waves from passing boats rock the seaplane. The pilot hooks up immediately with a medium-sized 6-pound bluefish as he reels quickly, laughing as the fish swings from side to side. Darcy swings her fishing pole behind her. Like this, Stretch, she questions, as she calls me Stretch. She questions, and she brings the lure back and then casts forward, not knowing enough to flip the bail to release the line from the spool. The fishing plug never leaves the tip of the rod, and Darcy almost falls overboard as I catch her arm. She's laughing so much she can hardly hold the fishing rod, but she gathers herself and reaches back, flips the bail, and releases the line way too late. That's better, Darce. Try again, I say, encouraging her as he retrieves the plug, not 10 feet from the plane. A big, bull-headed whopper bluefish hits near her lure and strips about 60 feet of line before she can turn the fish. I haven't seen her smile like this in a long time. Seeing that Darcy has a big fish, Angel rushes to her side to coach her. You do nice with the fish, not too much, Angel calls out as she slowly cranks the handle of the reel, gaining in the fish. As the fish comes closer to the plane, Darcy reaches up with the tip of the rod instinctively to bring it on its side. Angel reaches down to the fish's head and shoves his first two fingers of his right hand into the gills, lifting in one motion. It's 15 or 16 pounds, and Angel removes the treble hook from the lip of the fish, reaches his belt, producing a sharp knife from a leather sheath, and all in one motion cuts the throat of the fish and spills the guts into the bay like he does this every day. We fish until 9 o'clock, putting 20 fish on board with us in the crammed cockpit of the seaplane. The fish stink. It's all over us, and the most recently caught are still moving slightly, even without their guts removed. Darcy stares at the pile of fish, smiling. I wonder what she's thinking. Angel adjusts themselves in the duct-tape seat and calls back to us as the engine noise penetrates every square inch of the cockpit. He turns and looks back, yelling above the sound. Your girlfriend is a nice fisherman, he says as the seaplane moves toward increasing in speed while he's still talking. We celebrate, he says, handing his the flask, back to me to try. No, I'm only 15, I say, handing back to him. He motions to Darcy, and she shakes her head. More for me, he blurts out while slamming the remaining liquor down from the flask. Ah, he says while still looking back in the cockpit. Watch out, I yell as nearly as hits a red buoy marker protecting Potter's Cove. Not hitting nothing today, Angel shouts, looking up at the sky while accelerating into the bumpy nightmare of a ride as Darcy and I bump the ceiling above our seats, and we skip through the choppy waters. Darcy's laughing as we hammer each wave into the antique seaplane. I'm shitting my pants, just hoping that the guy isn't going to stop anywhere else. Maybe a favorite clamming spot or something. The plane rises into the new moon night sky as we leave the island. I can't help but think of Tommy down there, Patience Island somewhere, alone and confused. Is 4th of July. Angel removes his cap and shows us the American flag stitched to the front. Is my country, 'tis of thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's moonlight? But the reports we watched was valiantly screaming, and the rockets' red glare, and the bombs busting and flying in the air. He stops singing and turns to us as the plane climbs. We go to Bristol for fireworks. He screams over the noise of the engine. No, Providence, I plead with him. It's only now, so live, he says, as the banks to the east in the Bristol harbor, as the fireworks display of Independence Park in the middle of the show. He's flying directly into the path of the fireworks. Angel, you can't fly into fireworks, I yell as Darcy's eyes look like giant saucers. I waste my breath because Angel flies straight through the display as giant rockets slam past us, exploding all around the shaking plane. Blue and purple colors fill the plane as the rumble of the concussion explosions further rattle the craft. It's only seconds that we travel over the Bristol display, but it seems like a lifetime. Angel's still humming his version of the Star-Spangled Banner as he swings the plane over South Warren, Rumstick Point, and through the Providence River. Smaller firework bursts along the shoreline all the way to the city in the distance. I bring down at Shooter's Bar, okay, he asks. Yeah, Shooter's, I agree. What's a Shooter's, Darcy asks. I'm pretty sure it's a dance club over by the Washington Bridge. It'll work for us, I assure her. The plane swoops down over the scrap metal heap, leveling out to a water level on the western shore of Providence River, then settles into the waves, traveling to the dock. Big man, open door on this side of the airplane, he says, pointing, and he's throwing a line to the dock boy. He hands me a shitty old piece of nylon line with a hook on the end. I climb out the left pontoon and steady myself, hurling the hook at the dock. Thank God the kid catches it as he ties off the plane at the end of the dock. You go over there under the highway, Gaynor Street. You good, he asks. We good, thank you, Darcy replies for both of us while climbing from the plane. Angel rushes up the ramp and seats himself at the outdoor bar near the pool. I can see people moving their seats as he arrives, as he's smelling of fish, engine oil, and sea. We walk around the building to the parking lot. Darcy, I'm so sorry I put you through this, and I messed up our date on Block Island, I say apologetically. Jake, that was the best date of my life. So that's a chapter from a book that wasn't published. Yeah, I always say yet. Never know. And
that was a great adventure.
It was a great adventure. And I originally thought that this gentleman that was flying the plane was Portuguese, but I realized that he sounded more like he was from Russia. as the text.
They're just trying to take over your texts, the Ukraine. There's a lot happening right now with Russia. You just have to be on the defensive. So it's just, that happens.
At one point, the sweat that was coming from my upper lip was affecting the words. So I apologize for that. It's very warm in this room. So anyway, that was an Independence Day like none other for these two characters, right?
I like the shift, too, where you think it's, going one way, and then it ends up being something wonderful. That's a nice thing.
It does. And,
unless you're a bluefish.
Well, in that case, that's right. That didn't go so well.
That's a good observation.
Or anyone sitting next to Angel
and
at the
those
bar,
bluefish
really.
are toast. They will never be eaten.
Oh, no. Angel. Oh, he would never desecrate a bluefish. He sold them to the shooters.
If you catch a bluefish, it's got to go on ice right away. You can't throw it in your plane and then go to the bar.
Gasoline and the booze, right?
Well, but they go bad so fast.
Yeah, the gasoline and the booze probably affects it too, and the jostling and all that stuff. But bluefish are notorious for, well, if you don't gut them, it's worse. But in the summer, yes. But Angel doesn't have the great concern about those types of concepts. Yeah, It was the catching of the bluefish and the adventure that we really wanted to focus on, Ashland. I think you missed the point here. You got a little tied up in the
I'm one of those people
specifics.
You can't, if you watch a movie sitting next to me, I'm always like, That makes absolutely no sense.
They're not going to eat that fish, are they? I hope not.
Oh, I just saw a movie last night with my wife, and she insisted.
Was it
that
Independence Day, or did you just?
No, it was. She was reading a story about this actor. Can't remember his name. He was big for a while. I can't remember anything. But the name of the movie was Pig. And we thought it was going to be about truffle hunting, and it was about truffle hunting for about 10 minutes of the movie, and then it was about somebody getting their face beat in very often. So a good, interesting movie. Cage was the name of the guy, Nicolas Cage. Great actor. And it was interesting, but it wasn't much about hunting for truffles, which interests me. I like that kind of thing. I'm sort of like you in some respects, but not as, you're doing all the bee hunting and all that stuff. No, you don't hunt the bees.
I hunt with the bees.
Yes.
The bees are like conduits for honey, right, for you? Or do you have a relationship with them? I mean, not a weird one.
Can you make the honey without the bees? Because that would be you could cut out the middleman kind of thing.
But then I would have, I guess I would be the pollinator.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird.
That'd be tough.
Now we're getting weird.
That would be tough because, bees are like a superorganism and there's many of them and they can pollinate lots of plants. It would be a lot of work for one person to.
And you can't even fly. That's the other part. You
females,
walk the whole
as far
thing.
as you know, I can't fly.
That's fair.
Females are not natural pollinators, right? Pollen isn't that some kind of sexual thing?
No.
I don't know. I thought it was like semen. I'm sorry.
You must have pollinated a plant before.
Like a delicate flower.
Not on purpose. No, I haven't done that. And I have some plants.
It's just about transferring the pollen. Anybody can do it.
Okay.
Oh, we went a different direction there. That's our bad. Really, it's our fault on that.
We've pollinated. When we were younger, we did a lot more pollinating. Anyway. But was the story bullshit or not? Did you get a feel for it? I mean, do you think it happened for the reader?
No, it totally didn't happen because they'd still be in Providence. They'd be dead at a bar in Gano Street. Like there's.
I don't get where you're going with that.
I'm just concerned about two 15-year-olds at a bar in Providence late at night. That's all. Maybe I'm just, it's the father and.
Oh, that's why you were. I thought there was going to be like a real cliffhanger.
Well, I mean, I guess if you don't care about the safety of your children, then that's cool. Like that's.
What happens
next?
next?
But think about this. What is this? The setting, the year of this?
1982.
Yeah. So in 1982.
Oh, they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my bad.
It's only modern children that can't be left at a bar at night in Providence to find their way home.
But like back when we were kids,
we would absolutely find our way home.
All right.
Yeah, and they're 15. Well, they're 15 turning 16. So they've got a little bit behind it. Both of these characters have been through some stuff.
They've seen some things. Is what you're saying.
That's for sure.
They're street smart.
Like the Great Bluefish Massacre of 82.
Well, I mentioned bullshit because we have been doing a little bit of bullshit. Is it bullshit or not is our weekly activity. And Ollie O'Neil has offered to tell a story about is it bullshit or not. And we'll determine that. And you will too in just a moment. Okay, Ollie O'Neil, give it to us, a little bullshit.
All right, so this has to do with a Catunquit. I know, Catunquit's Memorial Square. So as you walk down past Catunquit's main street there, past the bar, you'll come to the water, and right before the water, there's a memorial square there, and there's a nice, I guess it's a monolith because there's only one lith there. So I will call it a monolith.
You're talking to us like we don't know what these places are.
No, but
you got to tell the audience. Yes.
For the listener, and so when you come down there, there's a really nice saying, dedicated to all the people who've served in different conflicts from a grateful community, and that's on the one lith, the monolith thing, and then on the ground there are different stones for each of the conflicts that they're referring to.
Is this a polylith?
No, there's only one.
Okay.
I think it's not.
A lith would not be on the ground. Okay, yeah, I got
you know, the other things are just sort of like just bricks and carved out things. To say,
they're like pavers. Those things.
Yeah, and they would say like the Colonial Wars, Vietnam War, where people have served. And I've always been curious about the shape surrounding the actual pavers, right? So some are just plain rectangles, and one actually looks like the outline of Catunquit. And so there's like 4 or 5 different shapes, even though they're lined up in kind of a timeline fashion. So they start with the Colonial Wars, and as you go through time, you go closer and closer to the water. And so I've investigated the shapes a little bit of the outlines of the pavers, right? So the pavers are there, and then there's brick outlines of different shapes.
You are a curious man.
Yeah, it was in my head. I don't know. I was there. I was having a coffee and just thinking about it, right? And so now I'm looking at it. I'm like, why are they? Everything's purposeful. Why do they shape them like that?
Somebody was getting crafty.
They were. I think they were up to something. This is not by accident. No one just randomly places pavers. That's crazy talk, right?
We're adding to his bullshit. Okay, go on.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. So it turns out that the shapes around the pavers are purposeful. And so if you think about the different aspects of our community that have military, different forts, battery, different areas that are connected to the military in a way, each of these sections is outlined in a way that represents those places.
You know what's missing from those pavers?
Your answer of whether or not it's bullshit?
Well, I'm not going to say that yet.
Oh, okay.
You start with colonial wars, but there were wars before that.
Well, but we didn't serve. People from Catunquit didn't serve in those wars.
People from Catunquit were native people that were here having wars with the Wampanoags and having wars with, not so much the Wampanoags and the Narragansetts didn't fight that often, but the
Pequots.
Pequots, they were fighting.
We should extend it away from the water to go earlier, up the street there is what
I agree.
All right.
I agree. Let's have some parity here. I mean, we've got to recognize the people that served.
So what are we deciding if it's bullshit or not?
The outline shape around the pavers, which is different in each of the time eras, are aligned to identify different areas on the island, like the different forts that are here in Catunquit. So there's multiple forts. There's a battery, and there are even some things out at Rat Tail. There are some structures out there too that are the military. So,
I haven't walked in the Memorial Square in a while, so
I think you should get on the e-bike.
I usually
I in the old days I used to park on the pier, but now they've kind of made that more difficult.
A little more narrow, I think now.
And there's more signage saying don't park here. And then I would cross the Memorial Field to get to the launch dock.
I'm usually listening to music there, which is very nice. But you remember when we used to have the... Oh, yeah. That. I remember that. Let's talk in riddles. We used to have music that was located in front of those larger homes on the hill, Blessing Hill. And at Blessing Hill... there was beautiful setting. People would arrive and lovely. It was
Is that where the kids would sled in the winter?
Yeah, something. They actually started on the stairwell.
Yes.
Of someone's home.
Of Blessing Hill.
They didn't live there in the winter.
Thank goodness that would not have gone.
Our kids did that too, and then but then they decided, the people that lived there decided they didn't want to hear the music in front of their homes on Sundays. So we changed it over to the other area, which is interesting.
I forgot that the music used to be over there.
Yeah, so a lot of people have. Yeah, see, there's history.
That might be before my time on Catunquit.
Yeah. So is it bullshit or not? I'm going to say, what do you think?
I'm going to say bullshit only because I don't have enough information, and I'm just going to go for that.
I will say, I'll oppose you and say it's true.
No, it's definitely bullshit. I was just on the...
Yes. Okay.
Having coffee down there.
Yeah. So you need
Are there different shapes?
There are different shapes. At first I was looking at one like, oh, that kind of looks like Catunquit. Like that's why they did that. And then you look to the left, you're like, nope, that's not why they did that at all. And they probably did just put it randomly, I guess. But it seems like it should be thought out.
I believe that the society, after hearing this podcast, are going to go back and add another memorial there.
Well, maybe we should definitely build that up the hill.
Maybe a lift, one lift. an additional
multi-lift.
Yeah.
Instead of just the mono.
I noticed that there's a rain catcher there now. It's lovely, made of stainless steel. You got to catch that. It's a beautiful work of art. But it catches 500 gallons of water and serves as a beautiful object. Has lions on it, and it's a flying lion. But the wings of the flying lion actually catch water. It's remarkable. You got to check that out.
Is that new?
Square. Brand new. Brandy new.
Bullshit?
No, that's not bullshit. Well, see, that was my bullshit or not.
Oh, man, that's my bad.
All right. So do you have a story for bullshit or not? I think
I can give you a quick one if you want.
Okay, I'll tell one after that.
Okay, so this is back in the 70s.
Wayback Machine.
In the 70s, when my first entrepreneurial experience, I was a fireworks dealer.
Oh.
And I went into the city, Chinatown, and procured fireworks in an alley. And then I brought them home and sold them. Let's see, what was the markup? Oh, you're a math teacher, aren't you?
I am.
So they were just the reports, right? Or whatever you call those things.
Salutes,
reports.
It's not math, so I don't.
Oh, no. So anyway, I bought them wholesale, and they're like 10 cents a piece, 10 cents a pack. Mm-hmm. And then I sold them for $1 a pack.
Did it pay as well as podcasting? Was that why
it paid better than podcasting.
Oh, that was hurt. That one hurt. Bullshit.
Yeah, that didn't happen. That's not a thing.
In the 70s, because in 1970s you were probably 10.
That totally happened.
Oh, did it? Oh, you went into the city, to Chinatown alone? It's great.
No, I wasn't alone.
It's like leaving a 15-year-old at a bar. That would never happen.
I wasn't alone.
You left that out, so we didn't have a chance on that one.
Oh, yeah. No, I was in the city. My father worked in the city, so sometimes we'd go in on the weekends, and he would still be working, so we would just go places and check things out and what have you. And so we happened to be near Chinatown. I was with my mother and my sister.
A big profit center there.
And I said, hey, I'm going to get some fireworks. So
what could possibly go wrong?
Yes.
So I just, asked a few.
Did you wink when you said, I'd like some fireworks?
No, I actually asked a kid.
And
he was like, yeah, no problem. Follow me.
Yeah, it's always follow, because I had a selfie in the city in Chinatown, and I think it was Boston. And
this was the big city, but anyway, go ahead.
This might have been the big city too. It was Chinatown. There's 2 Chinatowns, at least 2. There's some in San Francisco too. Anyway, whatever that is. And she saw something like a jacket or something she liked, and he said, "Come with me." And she was like 16. I was like, "Okay, I'll go too on this one." And,
how old are you at this point?
It's always come with me in the back room where they had like
when
600
I was buying
of them.
fireworks, or what?
Yeah, when you're going into dark, back rooms.
Yeah,
of
it probably
Chinatown
was
with
like
your mother.
9 or 10 years old.
Yeah. The mystery continues with this woman. She's
really
amazing. You missed the boat on the astronaut thing. When are you going to do the astronaut next gig? You going to go up in space?
In order to do that at this point, you'd have to be super wealthy and pay for that experience.
Oh, no. You do it the free way, because you've got the background, the engineering, you're fit enough. You never get dizzy. I think you'd be great at that. Anyway, moving right along, because we do have to move along. Bullshit or not. It's 1982, again. I had, at the time, a girlfriend, and we were very close. And last minute I said, let's go to the Bristol fireworks display. So that's a tricky thing to do last minute, because, there's so many cars that descend upon Bristol. Bristol is a very, they celebrated 4th of July or Independence Day before there was any recognition. It was before independence they did. They were way ahead of the game. They paint the streets. They paint the streets and everything.
You mean we weren't even independent yet?
Yeah, we weren't independent. They said, we're going to have a parade anyway because we think this is coming.
They also did Victory Day, some other things ahead of time.
Yeah, so they start celebrating in mid-June for July 4th, Independence Day. Anyway, that's it. So we kind of skirted in, and we got this great parking spot, and it's close to Independence Park, but there's no place to even stand, seemingly. So we went all the way up to the, at the time, now they're beautiful condos. At the time, it was an old warehouse that was, where they built something, in the industrial age. And there was brick building, and there were these old windows in the brick building. And we sat sort of close to that. And, we're kind of snuggling and kissing and waiting for the fireworks. And the fireworks started, and there was a sudden shift of wind. So they blast them off from a dock, floating dock out in the middle of the harbor. And the shift of wind from the south, they brought these things right over the top of us. So the bombs are going off in the display. It's wonderful, right? I'm loving it. But the people are dispersing. There's hot sparks coming down. But I'm into it. And, surprisingly, she was into it too. And we're kind of glowing, both of us in love. So
I'm so terrified about where this is going.
It comes to the finale, right? And we're just sitting there close to this building. The finale goes off. And at the finale, they don't put so much light in the air. They put a lot of sound in the air. And sound has percussive
That's the
elements.
one that hits you in the chest.
Yeah, it did.
That's what was missing. That's what.
Well, we were seated too close to the building because the windows in the building shattered and dropped to the ground. Not all of them, but some of them. And the glass shattered. And it happened so quickly, we couldn't even react. Others did. They left and ran, but we just shockingly stayed right there and sort of waited it out and said, well, we're going to die, we're not going to die. They were big, giant panes of glass falling. But boy, what a moment that was in our relationship, right? We weathered something special. Is it bullshit or not? And don't say the part about the girlfriend is bullshit.
All right, now
I'm going to say...
I used to have hair, by the way. In 1982, I did have
But
full
this
head.
girlfriend is not your wife.
But she is your girlfriend now.
Are we? No. But the thing is, what does that have to do with anything?
You brought up the girlfriend.
Right.
Well, there was,
that's a fair question.
I think when I was 22, I had a girlfriend, yes. And, I was close, yes.
He didn't answer the question,
No,
but
he
anyway.
It's
I'm
not my
gonna say,
wife. It wasn't my wife, no.
I'm
We
just
much
curious
later.
if this girlfriend
Different?
became your
Okay.
wife.
No.
So she was not scared away by this experience. I'm actually going to say that this is not bullshit.
I'm going to go with everything except the windows was not bullshit. I think the windows were the bullshit part.
Absolute truth.
Wow, he had a girlfriend.
Yeah, I did. Okay, that's
But
bullshit or not.
I could totally see that happening. I think it's a really cool experience, and luckily you weren't impaled with glass. Did they always shoot the fireworks off at the same location? Because you'd think that they would figure out after a while that we're shattering the glass in these old mill buildings.
Ended that year. They moved to a different,
So somebody reported, all the glasses.
They just kept replacing the windows each year. It was much cheaper.
Well, there was an occasion okay, so I have another quick story, but this one, and then we're going to move on to music and waves. Although, nobody feels left out here, but I have a quick story. Same town. This time, my father and mother, who, spur of the moment, decided to go to the same display, but it was located at Colt State Park this time. So my father at the time was ill, and he wasn't inclined to do much walking at that point in his life. He was quite ill. and they like to just kind of scoot in and drive up and put the sticker out, you know. So they did that, but then they couldn't see from the handicapped spot, so they just drove right up next to the, what are those things? Cannons. They had cannons, and it wasn't fireworks as much as, it wasn't fireworks at all. It was the Philharmonic. And they drove right up next to the cannon.
And a scheduling snafu. You know, usually they do the 1812 overture and the fireworks. They just
Maybe there was fireworks
wrong.
too. I don't know, because this is my father's story. No, so anyway. So my father and mother just kind of like right in prime spot. And the overture going along and whatever it is. And they blew off the cannon, and the man, there was some kind of problem with the cannon, and he blew off his arm right in front of my parents. They were way too close to that horrific experience. So I'm not going to talk about the fireworks at this point because it didn't matter.
Wow.
But is it bullshit or not?
Did he say, can you lend me a hand afterward or beforehand? Judging by the groan, I'm going to...
Even in my father's weakened state, he wouldn't say that. No, he would probably go out and...
No, I'm talking about the guy.
Put the tourniquet on.
Oh, all right.
Can you lend me a hand? We got to get this thing to blow. Oh, that's rough. That's rough. The people are going to be listening to this that might have lost their arm.
Is it bullshit or not?
Is it bullshit or not?
I'm going to say it's true.
I'll take the other side of that coin. I'll go with bullshit.
It is true. 2 truths tonight.
What?
No bullshit.
Because he came up with it spur of the moment.
That should have been our cue
Yeah.
about it. That's fair.
I was thinking about the state motto. I don't even know what it is anymore. You guys were talking about this during our brief break. And is it shut up and eat squid? Is that what it is?
No, I think that currently it's all that. Is that like a Rhode Island expression?
It's all that?
I think that's what it is.
I thought it was not for nothing.
Oh, that's a good one.
Not for
For
nothing.
nothing but.
No, that's a good one.
That's the way
right?
it should be.
Maybe the Rhode Island motto, not for nothing.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I stick with hope. I like just simple, straightforward
Hope.
hope. You can apply it to a lot of different things. Like, I hope we come up with a better motto. That could be a thing, right?
All
Like,
right. How about don't even start?
don't even start with me.
Don't start.
Don't you start with me.
Don't start with me. I'm going down there. You know, we've already been down to the Dairy Mart.
Yeah, so it's all that, or all that. Maybe it's just all that.
You know, there's a no
But it's
looking
not-
up anything on this.
No
podcast.
research?
No
Well,
research.
I didn't want to
We
be
have a
misquoting it.
Don't you bring facts into this.
Don't.
So it's not
it.
it's not the motto, because there is a state motto. This is the advertising campaign. That's what the Cooler and Warmer, which was another
That was a
Rhode
failure.
Island. Was it Warmer and Cooler or Cooler and Warmer?
I think it was warmer and cooler.
Warmer and
I don't
cooler?
know. Like,
I used to
again,
have
And
I used to have
everybody hated it.
my coach used to say, fast, slower but quicker.
oh yeah, it makes perfect sense.
He always said it fast, too. He'd say, slower but quicker, slower but quicker.
I think the Rhode Island thing should be always using what it used to be called, just like over in Newport. Oh, you mean where the Ark used to be? Oh yeah, you remember?
Oh,
where
yeah,
this
I
used
got
to
it,
be.
yeah.
Oh, you mean what the saying used to be, warmer and cooler? Oh yeah,
I like
I got
that.
you now. I can follow.
Yeah, that's right. Go by the house that burned down, right? Okay.
You know, it's not there anymore, but you should just go use that as your marker.
So I think we should move on. In just a moment here. I love this part. Each week we discuss National Blank Day. National Blank Day is, a couple of days ago, whenever this was written and discussed among the higher-ups in the Catunquit Chronicles podcast group, we decided to take a look at these national days. Now, be mindful that you're probably listening at a different time, and therefore it's not National Bikini Day any longer.
This isn't still part of bullshit or not, though, right? Like
No,
these are the
this
actual.
is National Blank Day.
You know what National Blank Day, what comes to mind? You know how you used to play that back and forth game?
That's a joke, right? National Blank Day comes to mind. my mind is blank, right?
No, but what comes to my mind when you say National Blank Day is that's a holiday centered around the blanks in the Scrabble game.
She does need to get into the astronaut program because nobody brought it there. I love Scrabble, however. Blanks are the best. I love a blank, although it's sometimes confusing.
Right, because it can be anything, right?
Yes, it can be. Is everybody in this room right now big Scrabble players?
I can't say that I am. I would love to be, though.
I'm a Scrabble player.
I play every day. I play online, which is not quite the same, but I also play with my wife, and she was defeating me for years. She's super intellect, and I'm in the like 60, 70, 80% win now with her, and she's not liking it. So we play less and less. So I'm seeking other persons to.
Jamie, we should play Scrabble.
Okay, all right, we'll do that. In a cooler place than this, anyway.
So it was National Bikini Day.
It was National Bikini Day. Did you participate, Ollie?
No, because you would think it would be like more of 2 days, right? Like a 2-piece kind of thing instead of just a 1 day.
One day you wear the bottom and one day you wear the top.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Now, the listening audience can't see Ollie, and he is about 6'5", and he's, he doesn't have the chest for a bikini.
No, certainly not. The legs possibly, but I guess that could be in any suit, right? Like,
yeah.
Do we have a clothing optional beach on Catunquit?
I don't know, but I could wear a bikini here right now, and I'd be like perfectly fine because right now
you do have the chest for it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm just sweating bullets here. My shirt, you can't see it, but it says Newport Film, which we support. Newport Film.
Maybe they'll become an advertiser.
Oh, certainly. I'll work on that next week.
More ads, higher salary.
But Bikini Day, National Bikini Day.
I did not participate.
I didn't either. I'm not big on that. Okay, so National Apple Turnover Day.
Seems like the wrong season.
I'm going to agree with that, unless you're in Australia. Right? Or is it
I
late?
don't know when apple season is in Australia. Do they grow apples in Australia?
Absolutely. It's the opposite season there.
Wouldn't it be like
right?
Kiwi
Well, I know,
Turnover
but
Day?
It might be winter there. Oh, so it's winter. So they're just like apples that they secured and put in a cool
yeah, I
place.
mean, they're still the apples we buy now are last season's apples.
Exactly. It's National Graham Cracker Day. How do you eat your graham crackers?
The only time I ever eat them is if I'm making s'mores.
Oh.
Teddy bear shaped.
Oh, processed.
Really,
Super
they're
processed.
kind of in this humidity. A graham cracker within seconds is lost its crunch.
That's why I put milk on them. I eat a box of them.
You put the milk on the graham
well, don't they
crackers, or do
have
you, like, dump
what's
it?
that cereal? There's a graham cracker cereal.
I don't have to do that. I just get a box of graham crackers, and then I take one of the sleeves, and I cut it in half, and I crunch them a little bit, and I put some milk on it. But you have to eat them real quickly. But they do turn to mush anyway. But it's a great sweet treat after dinner.
I go with the s'mores.
I think
I'm
we're going to
with you.
have to get an endorsement together for graham crackers. All right, it's National Workaholics Day, and none of us are participating.
That's exactly right.
Because this does not seem like work, just fun. Oh, here our next section is the PSAs, public service
Can I ask
announcements.
a quick question
What?
about the Workaholics Day? Was that on like during the week, or are they going to say no? You only get a day, like a Saturday? Like which day of the week do you think that was?
If you're a workaholic, you might work on a Saturday.
Right. So
I never write these things during the weekend, so it was a week.
it was a weekday.
Yeah, I often write these on Mondays and Tuesdays. Oh, full disclosure, I do write these things.
You've
So-
just raised the bar for what people expect. by the
People
way.
expectation, right? National Workaholics Day, and I'm working so hard at this.
You're sweating.
Between my golfing. Bad knee injury lately, though. Not from golfing. I'm not sure how I did it. I think it was the 30 miles I walked during the Senior Open and then played 18 holes of golf. So my walking was $2,000. And my expectations of my body, $2,000.
You need to ride your bike more. Because they say that biking is very good for your knees.
Did you notice that I rode up to the 4th of July? The Independence Day parade in the North End?
I noticed that I don't think you spoke about the fact that you rode your bike.
I did.
But that was very good. That's a long trip.
Yeah, it was for both of us. And I'll have to say that my
and you
knee
didn't
was
swing
not
by.
better. Oh, that would have been the thing to do.
Yeah,
Swing by.
you would have found us.
And you didn't participate in the parade. Like,
Yeah.
kind of a snob about that, I think.
I think there needs to be someone watching it
That's fair.
other than Grandma, right? Grandma's grandkids. Well, someday maybe we'll have grandkids and they could be in that parade. All right, so we don't call them public service announcements. We call them shout-outs. Tella Strand Hampson, great names. Tella Strand Hampson writes in, I'm a full-service AC provider, and I can get that podcast studio temperature down where it belongs. Hey, right on. Tell
I'm a
her.
little disappointed you held out on us.
Yeah, tell her. I mean, I'm just announcing this to the world, and tell her sent this in at our Catunquit Chronicles at gmail.com email site. Again, Jake Frostberg. Now, that's the grandson of Frostbergs from the Catunquit Golf Club, which we talked about last time. I wrote into Catunquit Chronicles at gmail.com to confirm my grandfather did hit a hole-in-one. I was weed-whacking grass on the 6th hole when I looked up to see the ball rolling too fast at the cut, hit the stick, and dived down into the hole. Very cool, Grandpa. Nice announcement. Nice shout-out. Thanks, shouting that out, Jake. Maud Coldertrum wrote, boy, these are great names. Maud Coldertrum wrote, it wasn't me that was the whistleblower about the condition of the chicken before the Catunquit Festival's recent offering at the public barbecue, but whomever it was saved the town from a significant amount of intestinal strife.
I didn't know there was a chicken whistleblower.
It was a chicken whistleblower, and it was a quick shift from chicken to veggie burgers. Not a popular.
Ooh, I don't know if you take the diseased chicken or the...
Depends on the veggie burgers.
I think you're right.
How's your stomach? Is it kind of holding up to the
there's a lot of cost.
E. coli? Town Director of Parks and Recreation, Judy Corrales, writes, Recreation Playground is once again located at the school. Just to clarify that, because she wrote this, Recreation Playground is an activity, okay? So that's when multiple children show up, very sweaty and warm and hot, and then they play located at the school, so they play
Isn't
at the school.
their camp offering?
It's a camp, yeah.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, if you see a ball in the street while driving by, slow down and look for small children in the street. Great moment. We just received a new shipment of playground balls, and they're particularly bouncy. Isn't that interesting? Okay, now we play Guest Choice. Guest Choice is the guest gets to choose whether we hear a hurricane season poem that I wrote or a fishing story following in the next element of this program.
I'm going to go with the poem.
Okay. And could you express anything about hurricanes since moving here to Catunquit from the other island?
No, just, I'm new to the island. I've only been here 21 years, so I'm still a newcomer.
Okay, yeah.
So I kind of like them. It's kind of exciting for me, but as long as you're staying safe about them.
Well, you must have somebody else doing all the chainsaw work in your yard.
Well,
apparently you do.
It's a lot of cleanup afterward. It gives us something to do, but
Well, there's also death in some cases.
When definitely not rooting for death and destruction, but I remember growing up. I grew up in New Hampshire, and so we didn't get too many of these, but we did have one. We had Gloria back in the day, and that came up toward us, and it was just kind of being inland. It was kind of a neat experience. It's not something that you would see very often.
As a fisherman, it was horrific. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I disagree with you emphatically, but I've lived here longer, I guess.
And you're out on the water during the hurricane. That's problematic.
I used to think hurricanes were exciting when I was a kid.
It's exciting because your neighbors get all excited and they board up their windows and stuff. Yeah, it's exciting.
Well, and things float by the house. It's like,
Yeah, that's true. I think what you've done, and I've heard from other people that I know, Alexei and his wife, that you had a party during a hurricane at some point.
Did we?
Yeah.
Does it sound like something you would do?
It does sound like something we
she
would
can't
do.
remember.
That's so. Yeah, again.
I have a vague memory of this now. I'm really going to have to. I'm going to check with Stuart and see if he remembers this.
Well, Ricky knows. And Ricky.
Oh, it was that far back.
Husband. Okay, Sandy is the name of this poem. Great anticipated dune raiser spits from the sides of her mouth. Heavy, moist breath tempts to the surface. Weighted heave of ocean. Levels suspicious black-eyed boarded ocean homes. Leaking west, she hangs her laundry atop light posts. Reeks the wretched stench of septic ooze. Topples sailboats that challenge her scorn. Sending sails aloft as kites, phrasing each gust with exclamation. Children spawned from her tail, suck the air for strength, incongruous twist of tree lines and power, nosebleed pressure dip, window pane splatter gush. Her easel, earth, she paints hurriedly, broad brushstrokes, palette mixes paint with horror, leaves bits of flotsam errantly as ocean drains, leveling itself in earth art forms. Uninvited wedding guest, the gal in the chartreuse dress, unwelcome pain company named Sandy. I'll get you, my little pretty, and your dog Toto, too.
What year was Hurricane Sandy?
I don't know, but I wanted to make sure, just from your observations of this piece of equipment over here, that we are actually recording.
I believe that we are.
Very good. Okay. 'Cause I don't have a lot of skills in that area.
You're doing a good job over there. My favorite
Are you sure
line...
that means recording?
That the red button, usually when there's a red light, like if we flip that switch out there, there'll be a red light.
That means we're hot.
Yes.
So true.
Are we?
So true.
Yeah, my favorite line in that is window pane splatter gush.
I thought you might like that. Why?
I just think that's just to imagine a window pane splatter gush. It's sort of, to me, I envision a bug, or maybe more unfortunately a small bird, being thrown by the heavy wind at the window, and just because for the gush part, there needs to be some guts.
Ooh, good thinking. I like the way that you brought something else to the poem that the poet didn't mean.
And I like the septic ooze, just personally, on a personal level. The septic ooze kind of spoke to me.
The stench of septic ooze.
Do you live in town?
I do, yes.
Oh, so you don't have a septic?
No, that's why I can appreciate, like in theory, the septic ooze.
Yes.
And the laundry part too. You gotta love a good laundry bit. Putting the laundry on the lampposts.
Yeah. Well,
Sandy, if you didn't bring your laundry in from the clothesline, which some of us on the North End still have, then it might end up on a lamppost, except for we don't have a lamppost.
There's got to be one in town somewhere, but not up by you, I guess is what you're saying.
There might be some. I don't know. Oh, there's some on the east side.
There are telephone poles with lights, aren't there?
Yeah, I know one of my friends was complaining that there's one that shines in her bedroom window. She lives up near where the parade is.
Oh. We'll have to make note of that next
we
time.
We biked up there. We'll cover that. We'll take care of that.
We'll get an investigation going. Catunquit's first investigation.
Form a committee.
Because we're not permitted to do any research. All right, so that's the Sandy poem. However, I think Sandy was around 2015. It was like a Halloween because I was working in a nearby town, south-facing beach town, and there was lots of preparation. Then the Sandy hit, and it was a massive nightmare. And all the homes on the south-facing beach ended up in the marsh grass. But this is a new sponsor coming up here. One little shed I was with the senator, with the governor, all these people sitting in the big Humvee. It was 8 feet of sand in the street on the beach road. And the houses were over on the right where they're supposed to be on the left, and the septic facilities were moved by this ocean storm. And there's one shed, and there was a Generac generator in there, still running. Amazing.
And the shed was still where it was supposed to be.
Also amazing. So there you have that.
It's kind of like that famous beach bar that seems to survive every storm.
Oh, that one. Oh, so the Misty Mist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Misty Mist is in precarious position now. The least high tide, and their beer has taste of salt.
It'll be missed. The Misty Mist will be missed.
Yeah, of course. All right, so that was that. It's a holiday thing. I'm going to take that out of the mix. And I think we need to say goodbye, farewell. Avita saying goodbye. Which is, unless the guest would like to say something.
No, just thanks. This has been great.
Yeah, we've enjoyed your company. You're very hilarious. Mostly looking. I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right. And unfortunately for the listeners, they won't get to experience that. I do have a face made for podcasting, so that.
Now, I suggested that Ashland could be an astronaut, but Ollie, you have a shot at it too, because you're a little younger than both of us, I believe, and you're still fit enough, and you have a good sense of humor. So what more could anyone need to fly into space and do
trapped in a tube
work
for days?
Yeah.
With this, looking at this.
Also, is there like an optimum height? Because Ollie's quite tall.
Oh, yeah. They don't like anybody over 200 pounds because every pound...
Well, not so much weight,
that's
but
more of a
like,
weight thing.
I'm thinking more like, he'd be banging his head on the top of the capsule.
It's like I couldn't serve on a submarine because of my height. There's a lot of other reasons why they wouldn't want me serving.
Because you don't want to be locked up in it.
Well, I mean, that and my inability to do things appropriately and well on a submarine, on a boat. So that's
like most young submarine sailors.
Really?
They're all children.
They're submariners.
Ah, very good.
Yeah. They're not real mariners. They're submariners.
It's a subset of the mariners.
Oh, that's not nice to say. That's just me using the words against each other. Okay, so this is some time where I'm going to do some trumpets. That's the trumpets. Some waves. And a nondescript door. I think that's time for a wrap.
Ollie just left us, so we might as well call it.
He took off I think he must be sweaty. He was running down the hallway.
Trying to escape
Well,
soupy room.
This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed every moment of it. It's good to see you again. And Scrabble. Got to get on the
we'll
Scrabble.
have to play Scrabble.
I think we could get maybe a little Scrabble tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, James.
Bye, Ashland.